So it's Tua Tuesday, obviously taking our little stroll down Polynesian way. Lots to talk about. No more so than my other video that I put up the other day. And it caused all kinds of uproar. I mean, people absolutely freaked out on me because of the video I put out saying that the Miami Dolphins were actually cheating. And what was really funny to me was people were looking at Kyle Shanahan actually saying the words out of his mouth. I call it cheating. Oh, that's not what he meant. I don't know how a grown-ass man being completely definitive, telling you what he said, the words that came out of his mouth, and I got comments saying that's not what he meant. Okay, not going to argue, not going to go with that, not going to deal with it. Those of you that didn't like it, you're probably not watching tonight anyway, but those of you who understood what I was trying to say, thanks for watching. I know it did give me an opportunity to hit the ban hammer quite a bit. Had to get rid of a lot of people who just couldn't take it. And it was funny because I'm going to talk about what I said, and then I'm going to show you what the coach and the players said as well. And it's going to be kind of startling. You see, I had one commenter who said this, which I found to be really funny. This commenter said, "Doesn't sound like a Dolphins fan." He's talking about me. I heard similar comments in the past, some of my other videos. That doesn't sound like he bleeds aqua and orange. Well, I didn't copy my reply to him, but my reply was quite emphatic. No, I do not bleed aqua and orange. I don't bleed gold and blue for Notre Dame. I didn't bleed blue, red, white, and blue for the Patriots when Tom Brady was playing. My blood's red. It doesn't affect my life that much. It's not that kind of important to me where I need to be, bleeding aqua and green. It's just not that. I look at football as a game. I look at football as a business. I understand the moves that need to be made. I understand how the game is played. I understand how practices are. I understand how coaches talk to people. I understand how coaches talk to the press. And now I've come to understand how fans don't understand any of that. They just think that this is some kind of whirlwind, whirling dervish type of thing, and there's a frenzy out there right now. And I'm like, dudes, pump your brakes, man. It's a football season. It's football. That's all it is. And I just don't get upset to the point where I'm going to scream if somebody talks and is objective. I know people have said, "Hey, Barry, you just jumped on the same thing that Colin Cowherd and other people have, and you're just doing it for clicks." I can't help you. At this point, I'm going to refuse to even acknowledge anybody who posts a comment with the word hater in it. It's so infantile. It's like talking to little kids. You're a hater. No, I'm not. I'm talking football objectively. I'm talking X's and O's. I'm looking at film from a perspective of almost a coach talking to a player. I hate to break it to you, but do you know that when coaches talk to players, they're kind of stern when you don't see it, and they're saying you shouldn't have done this and shouldn't have done that? I think you all saw just in the last day where Tyreek Hill basically blasted Tua. I don't know why he did it in public, and said that Tua threw the pass to the wrong spot. And then he said, "No, I ran the wrong route," because he said something in public. But I don't think a lot of people followed that conversation. In order for him to come out and say that, there was obviously discussion behind the scenes. There was a lot of talk, obviously, in the locker room. Hey, he must have went up to Tua and said, "What the hell, man? You threw that in the wrong place." And Tua's like, "No, I threw it to where you're supposed to be. You blew it." And Mike's like, "Okay, let's go in the room and look at the film." They brought up the film like I did in my video, and I went step by step by step. And people are like, oh, you had to slow it way down to see what you saw. And no one's going to slow it down. You don't think coaches sit in the rooms and do frame by frame? With the precision that this Miami Dolphins offense runs with, you don't think that they have sat down and looked at and basically scripted it out second by second? You need to be here. When you look at the play that I broke down, Tyreek was in his stance. He was looking back. Tua gives him the sign. Come on, move, get going. At that point, he gets going. So there's some sort of mental clock going on where he's saying, okay, it's going to take me this long to get across, snap the ball, go. That's not by accident. That has been practiced. That has been looked at on film. That has been broken down. And of course, there's going to be times when that turn is a little bit early. And like I said in my video, they're not calling it right now. They're warning people, but everybody in the not everybody, thankfully, it was just a small smidgen, but people in the comments were, oh, Barry, you're exaggerating. There's no exaggerating. It's just football. The offense that the Miami Dolphins runs is extremely precise. It is extremely based upon just military type timing. You need to be in a specific place at a specific time for the play to work. I don't think people really understand that. Let me just check something. I don't think people really understand how much precision is needed to run the Miami Dolphins offense. Every single thing. When people say that Tua is a spot thrower, yeah, he is a spot thrower. I expect you to be where I am going to throw the ball. I don't think that's a bad problem. That's just the offense that Mike McDaniel has designed, but it's all based on timing. My point that I was making in my Kyle Shanahan video that people didn't seem to understand was what happens when that timing breaks. That's the objective part of what I was coming across with. Yeah, Kyle Shanahan called it cheating. The point made that I followed through to the end with the refs was what happens when you get into playoff football and everything is friggin' precise. You have to be here at the specific time. No ifs, ands, or buts. We've practiced it all year. And what happens when you're not there? What happens if there's a speed bump put in place on the field where that can't happen, where you can't be in that spot? Thus far, an objective viewpoint, this isn't negative, thus far, I haven't seen, from watching all the film, I broadcast every single game, I go back and watch every single play, I have not as of yet seen Mike McDaniel come up with the plan B for a team that's capable and has the personnel to put speed bumps on the field. I watch film completely different than the way the average fan looks at it. Am I being negative? No. Am I being critical? You're absolutely friggin' right I am. Because that's what matters. The upside always takes care of itself. The upside in anything, business, your marriage, life, upside always wins. What happens when the downside occurs is what makes the difference. How do you adjust for the downside? Your health, your business, your marriage. What happens when something breaks? Are you prepared at home? You buy insurance. You have health insurance. In case something happens, I go to a doctor. Correct. I take my car to a mechanic. Correct. My employee doesn't show up for a shift. Got to cover it. You don't close your business because something breaks. You have to fix it and be ready. Hey, Fred didn't show up for his shift. Charlie, can you step in and take it? I'll take your shift. Something has to happen. I'm bringing this up to you. Some of you don't like it. I'm just saying, think. Think hard. Hey, listen, what are we going to do when this happens? You can't even say if. When this happens, what are you going to do? So I looked at the Buffalo game. I looked at the Eagles game. I looked at the Kansas City Chiefs game. And I looked at it from that perspective. And I saw three teams that were able to put speed bumps on the field. Have not seen any fix for that as of yet. Go back and watch the games. Everybody's like, oh, in the Eagles game, we got killed by penalties. In the Chiefs game, oh, there was a bad fumble by Tyreek. Go back and watch the games. Go back and watch it from that perspective and go, wow, Tyreek only had 65 yards. What happened? Wow, Tyreek only had like 72 yards. What happened? What happened that caused those things to occur? Most fans don't look at it that way. They don't understand what's the cog, what's the speed bump, what did the other team do to cause this? And so what I try to do is, hey guys, this is great. 9-3, things are going fantastic. Playing against teams that don't have the personnel, not necessarily cupcakes and tomato cans, as people say. Not really saying that in regards to these guys really suck. They just don't have the personnel. They don't have the personnel to contend with. So the narrative that everyone says, oh, you can't beat the good teams, it's just the opposite. You haven't beat the good players. That's the narrative. People should explain that differently. Hey, these other teams, they're way inferior to the Miami Dolphins. They don't have the personnel to execute. Again, it's good. It's great. It's the upside. You beat up on them, it's fine. What is your plan when you have to go up against a bigger, tougher, faster, stronger, smarter person? There's a faster gun. There's always a faster gun. People get pissed at me. I saw one guy put a meme up there. Oh, the weightlifter up there and this and that. And you know, he talks a lot of crap. No, I don't. I've been beat. I'll be the first person to tell you I've been beat. I've been beat. Really faster guys, stronger guys, been manhandled. I've also manhandled. But what do you do when that happens? And nobody ever wants to comment on that. And I just sit back and go, wow, it must be nice. You guys are seeing one thing. And then you get upset when it doesn't happen. I'm trying to just put it out there, and I never get anybody who wants to comment back and say anything. And I keep telling people over and over and over, these games may mean something in regards to strategy and standings, but they don't really mean anything in the big picture. Well, Barry, you're not a fan. Heard that so many times. I don't know how someone else can define somebody else's level of fandom. No, I don't have all the Dolphins crap all over my room here because I don't like to have that clutter. I wear Dolphin shirts when I broadcast on Sunday. That's pretty much the extent of it. I don't bleed aqua and green. I don't bleed yellow and blue or gold and blue for Notre Dame. I have my little banner here somewhere, and that's about it. Because I'm pragmatic in my approach. I understand what the downfall is. God knows from watching Notre Dame for decades, I'm usually done by late September, early October. Go, there goes the neighborhood. We're done for the year. At least next year, I can actually look forward to a playoff. Hopefully they can get there. This year, Miami Dolphins, the same way. A lot in my life. I've lost, but I've won a lot. I've overcome a ton of adversity over and over and over. And so I know that the means to the end, I never celebrate the means. I don't celebrate, hey, you did this, you did that, you did this. No, I need to get that. That's my focus. My focus is right up there. I don't even do this stuff on YouTube. I don't care about day-to-day videos. I keep experimenting. Going to experiment tonight. Keep experimenting with different content because I know, just so you know, what the hell is Barry doing talking about these different things? I've already done all the research, and I know for a fact that the Miami Dolphins as a topic is not satisfactory to grow where I want to grow. That's why I'm broadening. I've already done the research. There's only a certain height you can get to talking about the Miami Dolphins. I'm looking at the big picture. Have I had wins along the way? Absolutely. I've done millions of views in a month, every single month. And I cut back because I'm looking at where I'm going to be going, because where I want to be is better, bigger. But I'm not alone. The team feels that way as well. So let me prove it to you. All right, so this was posted, and when I saw it, I was like, why don't people understand this? Why don't the normal fan who gets all kinds of freaked out because you beat the Washington Commanders by 30 points, why don't people get this? So here's a tweet that Adam Beasley put up. It was talking to Mike McDaniel in the presser. Mike McDaniel on being the number 1 seed through week 13. Mike's response was, call me when it's a 13-game season, and I'll be excited to talk about the next game. He said the exact same thing. He just said the exact same thing I've been saying. I don't care. Being number 1 seed, blowing out some of these teams, I don't care. That's not what I'm doing this for. I'm doing this because I want to win a Super Bowl. He told the reporter exactly what I've been telling you. Somehow people get pissed off at me because I break it down. But he absolutely said the same thing. Hey, call me when they change this to a 13-game season, I'll be happy because that means, we're number 1 seed. We pretty much won the Super Bowl if it was a 13-game season. But right now, I don't really care. It doesn't mean anything. That's the same mentality I have. But it just wasn't him. Then Omar Kelly spoke to Bradley Chubb. Our goal is bigger than the number 1 seed. Our goal is to hoist the trophy at the end. I don't care about these games. This is just stepping stones. These are things we need to do to get where we want to. I don't even think about it come Monday, probably Sunday night. I'm done. I'm on to the next game. Doesn't mean anything. Yeah, it's fun. Slapped hand, glad hands, hug everybody in the locker room. Let's go to work. Let's look at film. Let's see what we can do better. Somebody got hurt. Next man up. Let's figure it out. What are we going to do to beat this team? What are we going to do to beat the Cowboys, the Ravens, and the Bills again? What are we going to do for those things, Mike Fangio? What are we going to do? No, we don't feel like we are the number 1 defense. We don't feel like we're the number 1 offense. You know why I know they don't feel that way? Because as soon as you feel that way, you're done. Once you feel like you're the big dog on the street, once you feel like you're the big dude on the cell block, someone's going to shiv you. Someone's going to come up from behind and show you what really matters. You never get complacent. Fans do. Some fans out here, obviously, extremely complacent. I don't get complacent. I don't even pay attention to these wins. 30 points over the Commanders. Whoo, great. Looks good on television. That's what I was saying in the video. Doesn't matter. Tua threw for 280 yards. Fantastic. Threw a 78-yard bomb. Fan-flippin-tastic. Threw another pass for 60 yards. Emmanuel Acho and some guys point out there was no look pass. Fantastic. Are you playing those guys in January? Are those the guys who are going to be on the field in January? No, then it doesn't matter. You beat the hell out of somebody. I'm pretty sure, and I love analogies, but I'm pretty sure the guy who gets in the ring with Conor McGregor and other boxers that they spar with and beat up on during, practice isn't the guy they're going to be facing when they get into the championship ring. This guy's here to help me develop. He's going to cash me a couple times. I'm sure he's going to cash me a couple times, but it doesn't really matter because all I'm doing is sharpening iron. Now, if that wasn't enough, it's Tua Tuesday. Let's see what the big dog said. This is from Tua himself. This was done a couple weeks ago. Tua Tagovailoa on having the lead in the AFC East. The job's not done. Quote, look at the words. There's nothing, not some, not a little bit. There's nothing accomplished by being 7-3. Nothing. Means absolutely nothing. That is a champion's mentality. When people say I'm hard on Tua, I'm negative on Tua, that's the kind of shit that I applaud. That makes me go, yeah, man, right there. That's the mentality. That's what you need to have. To me, that means everything. That means everything. It means more to me than when somebody says, I don't bleed aqua and orange. Nope. Excuse me as I adjust my chair. Nope, I don't bleed aqua and orange. Not that important to me. Nothing I'm going to worry about. I got to win. I got to win championships, and that's it. So that's all I'm going to say about the video I put up. You guys who follow me know it won't be the last time. I mean, I remember, let me just get to this one. I remember us winning a championship years ago. I don't even remember it was high school or college, but we won a championship. We're all high-fiving. We're bad. Coach walks into the locker room and says, congratulations, you guys are the top. You won. This is what you've worked for all year. But you have to understand, that team that you just beat will spend the next 364 days thinking nothing about beating your ass. So you need to spend the next 364 days making sure they don't. That's a winning mentality. Not running around, celebrating, jumping around, glad-handing, talking shit on Twitter, screaming at other fan bases. Might sound like it's fun. I don't participate in that. I am the type of fan who looks at it from a pragmatic standpoint and says, good game. Good game, but you know what, man? Doesn't mean shit. Doesn't mean anything until you can bring home the trophy. I guarantee you, every single player on that team will not be happy, will not sit there in the locker room and say, we did it, if they get bounced out in the first round. If they get bounced out in the second round, all that means is I got to go back now and work harder. I just wasn't good enough. Fans will be like, oh, it's fantastic. We got to the play. Nope, that's not why you put on the laces. That's not why you pull down the helmet. You get out there to win. You saw the Jets get demoralized. I mean, oh my God, we're going to talk about them later on, but oh, what a dumpster fire. What a dumpster fire they are. So that's my open. So let me go ahead and get reamed in the comments here and see what's going on. Enemy of Credulity says, being objective about your team does not mean we don't root for our team. There's two things with those kinds of comments, and I'll just stress it once. One, you can't define my objectivity. I can't define yours. I can't tell you how to root for a team. You can't tell me how to root for a team. I respect what you say and say, good, I'm glad you feel that way. All I'm doing with my videos and my content is to show 13, 14 weeks in, there's still ways to go, but things have to be fixed. Let's see here. You can tell Barry played high school, college. Yep, absolutely. Funny how 49ers gave Philly a slap this week. Glad you brought up the 49ers. What happened with the 49ers? Which, by the way, it's unfortunate that it didn't happen with the Dolphins. The 49ers went into a slide. They lost 3 or 4 games, and they came out of that slide looking like completely invincible. The 49ers people have already vaulted them back up to the number 1 spot in the NFL. You took a 4-game slide, and people are like, oh, they're done. Wow, did they come back. Unfortunately, the Dolphins aren't in a position to have a 4-game slide and come back at this point. But the 49ers did, and they did it very well, very well. What's this say? I can't see. That's completely different. Division rivals almost always play hard versus each other regardless of record because they play so often and know each other so well. Correct. Yep. What I said was, in case you didn't see the video, Kyle Shanahan said specifically, the guy who invented the offense the Miami Dolphins are running, he said, and I quote, the Miami Dolphins are cheating. I repeated it and said, the Miami Dolphins are cheating. Then I went further and showed people how the Miami Dolphins were cheating. Then I also cited the NFL rule that says the Miami Dolphins are cheating. And it was like I lit fire to the Hard Rock Stadium. People were making all kinds of excuses. Well, how come they're not calling this or not calling that? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just saying Again, speed bump down the road. Be aware that something could happen. Doesn't mean that they're going to. Doesn't mean that it doesn't mean anything in regards to right now. But you're telling me that a coach isn't sitting back going, my mentor, if I'm Mike McDaniel, my mentor said on an open mic and laughed that the Dolphins are cheating. Kyle Shanahan looked in the camera. I called it cheating because it's cheating. And he said that as he went out and runs the same damn offense, does the exact same thing. And then the entire Shanahan tree, it's just filtered down, and Matt LaFleur is doing it in Green Bay, and Sean McVay is doing it with the Rams. And so it's happening. But until the NFL says stop, it's going to keep happening. Do you know when the NFL will say stop? That's where you need to take the big guess. I'll tell you when it is. The NFL will say stop and have the refs enforce it, since nobody understood this, when it's time to play for the trophy. See, right now, Kyle Shanahan's not playing the Miami Dolphins. So he doesn't care. Go ahead and do whatever you want. I don't care if Tyreek goes offsides and does whatever he wants to do. I don't care. It doesn't bother me. Matt LaFleur, I don't care. I'm not defending him. But I guarantee you, once it gets when there's no tomorrow, think about it this way. When there is no tomorrow, there's no next week, there's no next game. You have to win today. Hey, ref, take a look at Tyreek. He's turning up early. All right, I'll take a look. Hey, ref, that's the second time he's done it today. You going to do something about it? Hold on, I'll take a look at it. If you've never been on a sideline and you've never seen a coach work a ref, you have no idea. When there's no tomorrow, every single advantage that you have, you learn to use it for your benefit. Right now, do it. I'm not playing you. You're not doing anything to me. I'm just telling you, you're cheating. I'm cheating. We're all cheating. We all do it. We all know we do it. What movie was that from? I think it was Young Frankenstein. Not sure. But they all know. It's a joke. He literally laughed because nobody's doing anything about it. But you wait until there's no tomorrow, and all kinds of things start getting called. Because now it's trophy time. Now it's big money time. It's money for the owners. It's money for the big cities. It's money for the league. $5 million per commercial. Yeah, this is big money time. You watch. Rodney J says the Dolphins are playing football until they get flagged. Absolutely. I wouldn't tell them to stop now. Again, that video was about be ready with the what if. We've seen a propensity for Mike McDaniel not to run. I mean, on 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, he wants to do these gimmicky plays. You don't think people are going to be looking for that stuff? What are you going to do that you didn't do against Buffalo, that you didn't do against Kansas City, that you didn't do against the Eagles? Haven't seen it yet. Haven't had to. Inferior personnel allows me as a coach to do things I normally wouldn't do against the best of the best. And we're going to get to a point in the season where every week is the best of the best. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, see, I can't even, I'm going to put it up there, but I can't address this. When you say, oh, please, NFL not going to do nothing because they are not cheating. Fine. If they're not, then fine, be happy. Nothing will happen. There's nothing to be upset about. Wow, just woosah. Just don't worry about it. Be happy. Be happy. Don't worry about it. Don't get upset at me. Why you get upset at me? If you're so comfortable, if those of you who got pissed at me are so comfortable that Barry's full of crap, you should be happy. There's nothing to worry about. We're gonna do this. It's not gonna happen. I got game. Okay, this is something I do have to address. We are the best team in the AFC right now. That's wrong. You know why it's wrong? The Dolphins are the team with the best record and standing in the AFC. we have not determined who the best team is. That has not been determined. Don't let that get away from you, because you haven't got into that position where you have to go against the best. So how can you declare yourself the best? You're the great standing, you're number one seed, you got great ratings, and as I just showed you, none of that matters because you're not the best until you beat the best. It's that simple. Can we talk about other things with the team? Actually, I've gone 39 minutes about talking about Tua, so if you guys want talk about other things with the team, you guys let me know, because I'll move on to a different subject. I've said my piece about it. Let me close the Tua book, or the team book here. Great game. Won by 30 points against an overmatched team. Tua threw for 280 yards, threw a 78-yard touchdown, threw a second touchdown that went for 60 yards. Looked really good in doing it in an adverse condition. It was drizzly, cloudy, foggy, whatever, up in an environment in Washington. They won. You pulled the W out. The team won. Now it's on to the next game with Will Levis, and I'm not sure if Derrick Henry will be playing, but if Derrick Henry is playing, it's probably going to be the toughest running team that we've come across thus far. That should be very, very interesting to see what they can do on the run. From my perspective, what a guy like Derrick Henry brings to the game is time management. I don't think, again, this team can stand toe-to-toe with Miami, but if they can keep the ball and keep the offense off the field, they can make it somewhat close. But that all depends what Derrick Henry can do. If Derrick Henry can go for 100 yards, that same thing I said about Josh Jacobs. If Josh Jacobs could go for 100 yards, they would make it close. Josh Jacobs didn't come close to 100 yards against the Dolphins. They shut him down. Saying it again, if Derrick Henry can push for 100 yards, Tennessee will keep it close. It's black and white. They want to keep the ball away from Miami as much as possible. You keep Tua on the sideline, you keep Tyreek on the sideline, you run the ball, and that's their only chance of basically stopping the Miami offense. They are the only team undefeated at their home ground. Okay. Yeah, that's true. Can you, there are only two, and Noodle Arm is on pace for a desk job better. Tua on pace to break. Guys, I must be the wrong channel for you. I'm glad you show up, but I don't care about stats. I don't understand. It's my mentality, maybe because of the way I was coached. Maybe because my coaches told me, your pancakes and how much you could bench and it doesn't mean anything. It won't mean anything until those ingredients are put into the bowl, the recipe of championship. And it was just drilled into my head. Don't read your press clippings. Don't. And so I don't read a lot of press clippings. I'll go ahead and post videos of what people were saying, because sometimes it's absolutely kind of funny to me how people look at things, and I try to figure out, are they doing it on purpose or do they really mean it as well? But one of the stats I heard was that Duke Riley had the highest score of any linebacker this year. I'm like, so? So I might just be the wrong guy. If you want someone to cheer stats, I'm not that person. Never been that person. Never will be that person. The stat, and I've said it many a times, the stat that means the most to me is, did you win your last game of the season? That's it. If I can look you in the eye as a man and say, hey, how'd you do this year? Oh, we didn't do too bad. Did you win your last game? Nope. Okay, see you next year. Don't care anything else you got to say. Well, I hit 40, 4.240, and I did. Did you win your last game of the season? No. I talked to my grandson who's playing basketball. He played tonight. And, everybody always says, just get out there and do your best. And just like Sean Connery said in the movie The Rock, And I loved it when he looked at Nicolas Cage. He goes, "You ready for this?" And Nicolas Cage said, "Those of you who are old enough will remember this line in the movie." Nicolas Cage looked at him and said, "I'll do my best." And Sean Connery snapped his head. "Your best? Winners go home, and you know what? Losers are the ones who say, I did my best." And if you want to be a Star Wars fan, you know the Yoda quote. There is no try, it's do. You got to do it. I'm not interested in if you did your best. And so I tell my 13-year-old grandson the exact same thing I'm telling you about Tua and this team. I don't want to hear you do your best. I want you to do 2 to 3% better than you've ever done. I want you to take every single game and say, what can I do 2 to 3% better? So by the end of the season, you're over half better than when you started. You're trying to get somewhere. As a freshman right now, you want to be, one of the big dudes on the team. You're going to have to train. You're going to have to run. What are you benching right now? Okay, so if you're benching 200 at 13-year-old, I want to see you somewhere about 250, 260 come June. Want to progress. You want to get better. I don't want your best today. I want you to improve upon your best. What's the best you've ever done? Well, the best I've ever done is X. Okay, this week you got to go for X plus 2%. There is no best right now. So when people say he broke a record or he's on pace, for the record, that's fine. That's fine. I can't argue with that. See, you're putting words in my mouth now when you say we'll win the Super Bowl and Barry will say we cheated, because that means you're not listening to me. You completely blew off the first 40 minutes of what I said. What I said was, I'm interested in most looking at championships. I guarantee you, if the Miami Dolphins win a championship, I will be extremely happy, because that's the last game of the season and you won. You don't listen. Yeah, for some reason you don't want to listen. I just said that to you. I've said it all along. I want you to be in a position where you win the last game of the season. And then you quote and send a comment saying, "Oh, Barry, if they win, Barry won't be happy." That's what you don't understand. Hey, MTG. I feel the Bills are still our biggest threat. What's your take? Well, because we have to face them again, they're a divisional rival. I think the Bills understand that in order for them to get where they need to get to, again, they just need to, at this point, concentrate on getting in the playoffs. They're in a whole different ballgame at this point. So you're basically going to see them as a cornered animal when the Dolphins meet them down here at the Hard Rock. At this point, you got a team that's got nothing to lose. They're going to be scrappy. They're going to be trying to do anything they can do because they need to get into the big dance. Dolphins are sitting pretty, 9-3, first in the conference. No big deal. You're going to get into the playoffs, barring some collapse. Bills don't have that. They don't have that luxury of sitting back and going, yeah, we can rest a few guys. No, you can't. No, you can't rest any guys. You need to push the pedal and do as much as you can to get into the playoffs, and not just to get into the playoffs, but to build some momentum going into the playoffs. See, one of the things I'm worried about with the Dolphins is 9-3 right now, and if shit hits the bed and you end up being, let's say they go ahead and beat the Jets and the Titans and you're a whopping 11-3, but then you limp into the playoffs, lose your last 3 games, and you're 11-6. What's the Bills' record right now? The Bills' record right now is they're 6-6. The Bills have to run the table. Right now, the Bills are looking at this and going, if the Dolphins lose those 3 games, Cowboys, Ravens, and us, then we're going to be in a position, if we take our own destiny, to run the table. So my concern with the Bills is you're looking at a hungry, frothing, clawing animal that's going to do anything they can to get into the playoffs. Because now once you get into the playoffs, you've reduced the season to a couple games. And that's when shit hits the fan. When it comes down to 2, 3, 4 games, that's when things get really, really tough. As I said in that video, and it was funny, tons of comments on that video about being cheating. And I said 3 things that nobody even talked about. I said, when you get into playoff football, you all of a sudden get this re-emergence of the defense. It's funny, even with Tom Brady playing and people scoring all kinds of points, the number 1 scoring team in playoff history, granted they played a shitload of games, in playoff history is the Green Bay Packers. And even they only scored, I believe it was 24.9 points per playoff game. And it was so slim. The next one was the 49ers at like 24.4. And then the Patriots at 24.2. You don't score 40 and 50 points in the playoffs normally. Things basically contract. It's a whole different game. And that's what I was trying to impart on you guys is look at history. Look at, you love stats. Look at history. What happens in January football? That field shrinks. That field shrinks down, and some of the teams that were scoring, I remember back in the Steelers when Terry Bradshaw and Lynn Swann and some of the things that they, Stallworth and what they would be able to do, and then it would turn into, it's talking about Jack Lambert and Joe Green. Those were the guys that were just killing it during the playoffs. The whole thing flips. Not having Jalen Phillips is going to be a problem. I mean, that is a huge problem because I'm telling you what's going to happen in January when that field contracts, and it's a defensive focused game. It's completely different. So are the Miami Dolphins going to break the records of all playoff teams? I don't know. Maybe they will. Is there a way to block? Yeah, if I see them, I mean, I blocked a bunch of people in comments. Usually I just look for the what do you call it, the spammers, but it goes through so fast, I don't know who's saying shit or whatever. So if you see somebody, don't snitch, because if you snitch on them, they're going to bitch at you. But you know how to get a hold of me. I mean, I've seen your comments, Joe, and just let me know, and I'll look up the name afterwards and get rid of them. There's a YouTube channel that makes videos every week talking about rigged games, following storylines. What thought in that? He even places bets. I don't know, man. Is the NFL rigged? I don't know how you could do it other than with the refs, I guess. If you say go ahead and enforce this team a lot worse, maybe I guess you could do that. But you don't control if Tua hits Tyreek on an 80-yard bomb. I mean, you can try to do different things and say there was holding on it. I don't know. I know a lot of people feel that things have been rigged, and there's been a shift towards almost like wrestling at this point. But I think, my personal belief, no data to support it, I think the league, as I said in that video, I think the league lets people get away with a ton of shit during the regular season. As I said, fill the stands, get the television ratings up, get the ad dollars, chicks dig the long ball, score, and then we'll fix it in the playoffs. I mean, nobody wanted to see, I don't think anybody would have loved to have seen the Chargers beat the Patriots 6-0. Go to sleep. Boring game. But, you got Tyreek and Tua hooking up for 60 and 80-yard touchdowns. Yeah, that's really exciting. So I think they let the teams play more during the regular season. Only cowards block. What are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about blocking people? No, it's not only cowards. I'm not here for one to basically entertain your idiocy. So if you're one of the guys they're talking about, yeah, you'll be gone. Absolutely. No, Jay, you're not blocked, but I don't know if you're one of the guys they're talking about. So we'll see. Well, there's all kinds of things. Let's see. Happy Fun Time says 10 fin flags, 0 eagle flags. Yeah, that's odd. That's very odd. You know what's even odder? What's odder is that, not otter in the animal, otter, O-D-D-E-R, is that the league doesn't address it. It's like, yeah, that happened. Sorry. Or not sorry. Not sorry anymore. Whatever. But when you go back and look at the game, again, film work. I'm sure the refs have film work. Players have film work. Players don't have time to bitch about it too much once they get into the next week. But you as a fan can take your eyes off of the television and go ahead and download the All 22, make a note to yourself when the penalty was called, and see. See for yourself. A lot of times when people look at penalty calls after the fact, I'm like, oh yeah, he did do that. Yeah, I mean, I saw a couple, like somebody had said you can call a holding call on every play. Yeah, you basically can. I didn't bring it up, but I saw Teron Armstead just a couple times. You know what was funny? Omar Kelly posted a video of Liam Eichenberg basically destroying somebody. And I clicked on it and watched it because I hadn't seen it. Me being a former lineman, I'm like, well, what the hell was Armstead doing? If you find that tweet where he's hailing Eichenberg, and I'm watching Eichenberg take this guy and faceplant him, and I'm watching Teron Armstead right next to him doing an Olay dance. And it was funny because I messaged one of my buddies, and I go, do you see all these comments and they're applauding Eichenberg? Does nobody see this? I'm serious. Did nobody? I mean, there must have been 60 comments. Oh, the Eichenberg Express. Oh man, he piled that guy, pancake. And I didn't chime in because they freak out. But my eyes looked right at it. I'm like, Teron completely blew that block. It wasn't even close. I was a complete, and we call an Olay block. An Olay block is when you go, Olay, and the guy just goes right past you. Lookout block is, oh, look out. Those are two blocks that when you really get beat, you don't want people saying Olay or look out. And he did an Olay block on the same exact video that Omar Kelly put out there. And I was shocked. Not one single fan saw it. And I thought, wow, I'm in a netherworld here. People don't even see what's going on these plays until you tell them what to look at. So Omar said, look at Liam Eichenberg. And they all just followed Liam Eichenberg down the field blocking a guy, and nobody happened to look at what Teron Armstead did. So it's pretty funny. Hey, Nick, thank you very much. Appreciate your channel. Find for the win again. Yeah, absolutely. Found a book this week claiming to be the ultimate Dolphins trivia, must for fans, and sentence was hailing our record-breaking quarterback Dan Marino. Yeah, this is a great question, a really good question. I mean, did they put Eric Ezukanma in the witness protection program? There's a couple guys right now who I think they put into the witness protection program. Eric Ezukanma, who I loved. I made a video as soon as they signed. I thought this kid was going to be something. Gone. And as Captain Swole said here, there's another one. Chase Claypool looking forward to a TikTok career. He hasn't seen the field. Gone. Witness protection. Second round draft pick, Cam Smith. Done. I remember when people asked Vic Fangio and they actually stopped asking him, hey, when's Cam Smith? Oh, he's not ready. Hey, when's Cam Smith going to get on the field? Oh, he's not ready. Dude, it's December. Is he still not ready? Did you completely blow that draft pick? Did you? If he's still not ready and it's December and he's not in the rotation of different guys to get on the field, even when you're blowing teams out by 30 points, something's wrong. I don't think we're going to see Cam Smith around next year the way he's playing. Who's on IR? Cam Smith is still on IR. I haven't seen it. He could be. I guess maybe. Oh, you said Ezukanma's on IR. Interesting. Didn't know that. Hey, there's another one. Duke says Tyndall, another draft pick, witness protection program. Never see him. I don't know how that warm body, especially when you have to spell David Long or AVG when somebody goes down like Jalen Phillips, you don't even trust him to come out in garbage time. I mean, garbage time is when you put just about anybody out there. That's another thing that concerns me, depth. Yeah, I thought Cam Smith did a few things during preseason myself, and I thought he was going to be somebody that could be counted on. Not sure why they're not. I know we can't beat winning teams so far, but at the beginning of the season, we had the second hardest schedule in the league based on last year, and we stand at first seed, so I'm proud of our team. Nothing wrong with that. I would never, ever tell someone not to be proud of the team. That's to me, that is what a fan is, somebody who's very proud of the team and will support the team through thick and thin. Absolutely. Trav, what's up, my brother? Trav Murray is the one who made one of those songs that I play before the broadcast. Omar Kelly said Channing Tindall lacks natural instincts. Did he lack them in Georgia? Because we all saw him play. Well, not I saw him play at Georgia. He was badass. So what did Kirby Smart see that Vic Fangio doesn't see? That's interesting. I love your honesty on the team, and too, it's a breath of fresh air. I look forward to your shows. Thank you very much. You're one of the good ones. A lot of people don't like me being honest, but again, I'm just a huge advocate for iron sharpening iron, making sure people get better. So this week, let's talk about this week. I had a bunch of stuff to show you, but I'm not going to go there on this broadcast. We'll just keep talking about the Dolphins. I'll do my news stuff tomorrow. Oh, by the way, just to let you know, we did my first news show yesterday, and a bunch of people showed up, and I was quite happy. So tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Before you see this video, I just wanted to let you know something that's going to be happening. I'm starting a new sports news show that's going to go live every single weekday night at 7 p.m. So please tune in. I'm going to be covering all the sports, everything that ESPN probably doesn't want to cover. You can find it at 7 p.m. every single weeknight. We're going to talk basketball. We're going to talk football. We're going to talk college football. We're going to talk all kinds of things, and I'd love for you to join me. Yeah, it was great yesterday. I couldn't believe in the first show. It's going to grow because there were a lot of people who engaged and listened and talked, and it was nothing to do about the Dolphins. It's just other kind of news. All right, so back to some of these things. Barry, give us your opinion. Probably Brazil will receive a Dolphins game. How about it? I hate those overseas games. I mean, those are basically marketing games for the NFL, but gotta hate that, man. I mean, I want to. If I'm going to play a game, I want to be in a place where I'm comfortable, where I don't have a lot of distractions. Do you know that? Let me give you how big distractions are in the college game, and even in some high school. In college, there's normally a hotel someplace on campus. There's a hotel on campus at any university that has an account where players can go and check in on Friday night and just get away. You're not at the fraternity. You're not in the dorm. The girlfriend's not there. You just check into the hotel and get your head ready to go play the next day. There's too many things going on. Brazil, if it's in Rio, oh my God. I mean, you see how people come down to South Beach and lose their friggin' mind. Can you imagine what's going to happen when they get to Brazil? Well, I know you're talking about grown men, but it's still something, I just don't like it. If it happens, it happens. They'll play the game. They'll be doing it. Come on, man. Dolphins are international. Want to see our Dolphins closely. Oh, you're in Brazil. Okay. Enjoy. Yeah, absolutely. Tom Stockwell says, sign Sergio Mendes. Greer's drafting destroyed this rebuild. Getting Tyreek saved his ass. Well, see, that's the offseason problem that we're going to have. I'm going to close with this. You guys, and we'll get some comments on it. Again, if you win that last game this season, all bets are off. Things are great. Champagne's flowing. Everything's fine. This year, if this team does not win the Super Bowl, what are you going to do next year? Let's say you get into the playoffs. Let's say you go deep into the playoffs. You're already, I think 31st, 30th or so in terms of draft picks. So you're going to be way down on the draft pick. Your salary problems, your salary cap, and all this stuff aren't going to allow you to go out and get a whole bunch of guys during free agency. And then you're going to lose some people. I would almost, I play poker, but if I was a betting man, I would say Teron Armstead, he's done. He's gone. And I'm sure there's going to be a few other guys that are done. I'm done. And then you got to look at what are you going to do about Tua? You got to pay him. You got to make him wait another year. What are you going to do about Tua? A lot of big decisions coming in February, March, before April. And I don't know what Stephen Ross does and makes these decisions. We may lose the offensive coordinator, Frank Smith. He's being talked about as getting a head coaching job. So you're talking about taking this team like a snowball. Not snowball, what do you call it? Snow globes. And shaking it and going, and come March, looking at this stuff going, whoa, this doesn't look like the mosaic we put together. I don't know what's going to happen next year. And maybe you trade up for some draft choices. I don't know. But at this point, again, that's far down the road. But begin thinking about that. Wow, that's another guy. I didn't even think about him. Yeah, Xavien Howard may be gone. What do you do about him? How do you replace him? A lot of stuff. Dan Pilarski says he would move on from Armstead. He's a great lineman when he's healthy. It's something we need, just like we talked about staying healthy. Yeah, they may have to move on with him. Can we just worry about this year? Can you imagine if we were in last place? See, I think that's one of the issues. I don't imagine much. I see where this team is now. I tell you what I see on film. I tell you what I see as a possible impediment. I tell you how the salary cap is, which is malleable. You can fudge it. It's fungible. You can do some different things with it. But I tell you that Teron Armstead doesn't look like a long-term player. I don't want to imagine. That stuff is staring you in the face, and I think at the same time, it puts a tremendous amount of pressure, even though he doesn't show it. He comes across as a cool cucumber. Mike McDaniel has to know there's going to be a whole lot of things happening come February and March, especially if you don't win a Super Bowl. Jose from the Dominican Republic. Thank you very much, brother. Thank you very much for that. Quarterback is a completely different beast. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do about that. So Flamingo Boot says, I'd pay Tua. All right, here's something we can close the night on. I'd pay Tua. So what you're saying is, right now, based upon performance this year, you would go ahead and give Tua $230, $240, $250 million, because that's the market. If we look at Herbert and Burrow and Deshaun Watson and what's the other guy, Lamar Jackson, all these guys getting that big money. Even Danny Dimes got a big. Jalen Hurts got $250, $260. So you guys, how many of you right now would say open up the Brinks truck and pay Tua $250, $260, $275? Does he need to be the next highest paid quarterback? Are you saying that he should be getting a guaranteed offer of $260? Guaranteed? Is that what you believe at this point? Tua has earned a $260+ million guaranteed contract? I would love to see if that's what you guys think. Oh, okay. So you're saying $300 million. Okay. No, sorry, Tua doesn't have the mobility for that kind of money. 180 to 200 max. And the reason I'm asking is because Jimmy James says 300 mil. So all you guys are saying right now, not all, some of you guys, that Tua deserves the highest contract in the NFL. That's what you're saying. Knowing the salary cap next year, you're saying Tua needs to grab hold of upwards near $300 million. And Joseph says, I'd pay him. What's the other option? I'm not going there, because when I mention the other options, people get pissed off at me. $300 million for Tua. And is that even if he doesn't win the Super Bowl? Because you guys are saying ready to pay him right now. If he wins the Super Bowl, he's got the ring, he's got the trophy. I could even understand the reward at that point. You're young, you got a chip, you brought home the trophy, But are you saying $300 million without a Super Bowl? Good point here. I don't think a good Christian man like him would cripple his brothers. Let's see how Tua fares the rest of the season and into the playoffs. Good point. Brock Purdy is probably going to be the MVP if he keeps playing the way he's playing. Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, he may have dented his value because he hasn't been playing that well this year. I'd really like to know, who else would you bring? Well, next year's quarterback market is going to be, I mean, I brought it up. Okay, let me see if I can find that again. Where was it? Okay, so this is, let me pull this up. I got to get out of here, but I want to go over this with you. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at this. And so this is the draft order for next year, which are we going to say, bingo, okay. Like I said yesterday in my video, Chicago, not sure what they're going to do with Justin Fields, but Carolina's pick went to Chicago, so they're sitting number one. New England is obviously going to take a quarterback. Arizona has Kyler Murray. Washington has Sam Howell. Chicago has Justin Fields. Jets, that's the second quarterback off the board. Giants, not really sure. Tennessee has Will Levis. New Orleans has Carr. Tampa Bay, that might be the fourth quarterback off the board. Las Vegas, I think they're going to be in a quarterback market, so that's 5. Chargers have Herbert, Josh Allen, Russell Wilson, Geno Smith. Rams with, who knows if he can stay healthy. But as you're seeing, the quarterback market is going to dwindle very, very quickly. I don't know if it's 6 or 7 quarterbacks deep on this. Atlanta, I don't think they're sold on Desmond Ridder. Green Bay, Minnesota's going to need a quarterback. Let's see, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Jacksonville, Dallas, Detroit, San Francisco, Baltimore, Miami. So Miami may have a shot at like the 5th or 6th best quarterback, but are you going to spend big money on Tua and then also, look to, do something in that regard? I don't know. I don't know if you spend that kind of money on a big name quarterback, but then you're right back into where we were last year. You're right back into that position where, it's, what do you do? There was a tweet the other day. I don't know if I can find it. Let me see if I can find that tweet. It was very interesting that so many quarterbacks have gotten hurt. Let me see if I can find this thing here. And it was just really, really interesting. Where is it? Profile. Where it said 4 out of the 7, what do you call it? The AFC quarterbacks are right now on the bench. I did a video about there being $1 million worth of contracts sitting around. That's a lot. So hold on, let me just see if I can find this. So I can bring it up. Where is that tweet? I thought that was something very interesting. I'm scrolling back. I'm looking for it so as not to bore you guys to tears. Where is this? Okay, here it is. I had said this, and I said it. I distinctly remember, many of you know, for months saying, go with QB1A, not some placeholder as QB2. At this point, it says you need to draft backups as good as the starter. So people are starting to realize, with all these people going down and getting hurt, with all these people going down. Yesterday, Trevor Lawrence goes down. Here's the main tweet. Okay. If Trevor Lawrence can't play Sunday, 4 of the 7 current AFC playoff teams will start a backup quarterback in Week 14. 4 out of the 7 teams in the playoffs are going to be playing backup quarterback. So what do you do at that point? What do you do next year? I don't know. Quarterbacks are such a dying breed out there. If you give Tua the money, at least you lock him in, Tua, The snaps were all his fault. Yeah, you can say that, but it doesn't really matter. Dolphins, Cowboys for the Super Bowl. That'd be interesting. So you think the Cowboys are going to beat the 49ers? You think the Cowboys can beat the 49ers? Okay. Let's see here. Dak will still have stats when he's watching the Super Bowl on TV. Yes, he will. Dak doesn't have Mike McDaniel. It's kind of funny. But a lot to think about. He signed Trevor Lawrence as his back. Is Lawrence hurt bad? I guess the report today was that he's got a high ankle sprain. He has the same injury that Patrick Mahomes had last year. It's not bad. You can play with that. I mean, at this point, you just ride it out and just don't even do anything. Put him on the bench. And I think Trav Murray, that's the big thing. Please let Tua stay healthy. Protect that man at all costs. Well, we're going to know. Because at the end of the season, even though the Bills don't have Matt Milano, they still got a pretty fierce defense. Not sure if Von Miller will be playing because of his issues. Of course, the Cowboys, that game, it might be giving him nightmares, thinking about having to dodge Micah Parsons. That to me is just, wow, Micah Parsons coming at you. And then the Ravens just have a really strong, very strong defense. And then once you get into the playoffs, they're all like that. So before I close, what I want to do, since we're talking about that, let's go ahead and look at something. So let's imagine the season was over today. And who is going to go to the playoffs? Let me put this up. All right, so if the playoffs started today, let me click the button here. You would have the Dolphins as the number 1 seed, and it's just the AFC. The Ravens at number 2, the Chiefs at number 3, the Jaguars, you can see this is number 4, and then number 5 would be the Pittsburgh Steelers. So if the season ended today, I think this is correct, the Dolphins would have the bye. You'd have the Baltimore Ravens would play the Steelers, and then you would have Kansas City play the Jags. So at that point, you would have basically 2 or 3 of these teams still ready to go. And the Chiefs, you've already beat them. I mean, the Chiefs already beat the Dolphins. Baltimore Ravens, you're going to know what they're all about in a couple weeks. And then the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't think the Steelers are really going to matter at this point. But what's really interesting is that when you get down to this last seed, and you got the Steelers at 7-5, Cleveland Browns at 7-5, Indianapolis Colts at 7-5, Houston Texans at 7-5, and then you got the Denver Broncos at 6-6. This is all up for grabs. This is completely up for grabs at this point. It's going to be really interesting to see which one of these 4 or 5 teams is going to pull it out. Is it going to be the Steelers? Are they going to pull it out? Or is it going to be one of these teams here? Even the Bengals at 6-6. Where are the Bills? Bills is at 6. Look at that. Look at that horse race right there. That's what I was saying about the Buffalo Bills just needing to claw, scratch, gouge eyes out, do whatever you can to do. You got 5 games to make it happen. Don't worry about what's happening up here if you're the Buffalo Bills. Down here is what you need to worry about. You got to climb that ladder. You got to do all this. Let's look at their remaining schedule. All right, so the Bills' remaining schedule. Okay, let's look at this. They've got they have a bye. Excuse me. They have a bye this week or next week. You've got Kansas City, which is going to be a tough game. You got Dallas, tough game. They should beat the Chargers. They will beat New England. And then you got Miami. So you got these. They have a lot of work to do. They may be out of it after the Kansas City and Dallas game, which would be fine. But you can bet there's going to be a dogfight in these 2 games. There has to be. So don't count the Bills out yet. This game could mean nothing in January if the Bills are out. I mean, basically just play the subs and don't worry about it. But these 2 games here will probably determine a whole lot in regards to where things are. So that's where I'm looking at right now. Like somebody says here, Duke says, as long as Miami is at home, we can beat anyone. Okay. I can see them losing 3 of them. That's possible. The Bills could lose 3 of those games. Absolutely. Yeah, Bill's schedule is brutal. Absolutely brutal. And the only way I think they can get in at this point, they're going to have to run the table. And I don't think you run the table with the teams that are in. I mean, you would have to beat Kansas City, the Cowboys. Who's the Cowboys? Yeah, Kansas City Cowboys and the Dolphins just to get in. I mean, you have to run the table at this point. You're like the movie Major League. You only got one thing to do: win them all. That's all you can do. But at the same time, this is money time. This is when everything goes. Hey, Birdman, how you doing? See, I didn't have a chance to get to it tonight, but that's where I was going to go. I had all kinds of stuff lined up to talk about the shitstorm that's going on up in New York. I mean, just absolute shitstorm going on up in New York with Zach Wilson. And it's just, if you've been following it, you know for sure it's been a complete friggin' nightmare. Absolute nightmare. So anyway, it's been here for a long time today, so I'm going to bounce. Hope you guys, again, can join me tomorrow. I'll be covering a bunch of that news as well, and so going over all that. So again, here's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. Before you see this video, I just wanted to let you know something that's going to be happening. I'm starting a new sports news show that's going to go live every single weekday night at 7 p.m. So please tune in. I'm going to be covering all the sports, everything that ESPN probably doesn't want to cover. You can find it at 7 p.m. every single weeknight. We're going to talk basketball. We're going to talk football. We're going to talk college football. We're going to talk all kinds of things, and I'd love for you to join me. All right, guys, see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Those of you that want to tune in, got some big stories. I don't even think I'm going to clear my computer. I'm just going to leave those links up there so I can just get to them early tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Love you. Thanks for coming back. I don't hate the Dolphins. I'm not a hater. I'm just a realist, just a guy who likes football. Get over it at this point, man. It's been a ride for over a year at this point where I've been making these videos, and I just speak my mind and I just tell you what I see. Some people like it, some people don't, but that's all I can guarantee you is that I